It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shot.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my new casa in Las Vegas, guys. If you haven't heard, if you're coming onto the replay, your boy Dave from the 408 now lives officially in Sin City. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia's Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa?
What's up, Dave?
What's up, man? Saludos to everybody in the chat just joining us. Nando, I see you. Bruce Ghost, Boxing Jazz, and more saludos, man. Drew, did you watch the WWE? Because I saw our homeboy Bruce here was doing a live thing too, man. It seems everyone in the world was watching WWE, Drew. And it's crazy because not only did they break records yesterday, but there's some other huge news that I'm telling you is going to impact the sport of boxing, whether we like it or not, whether I like watching wrestling or not, because I don't. But I know plenty of people who enjoy and partake in the good stuff of wrestling. Drew, was it a good show?
Yeah, it was a good show. Usually you see surprises when it comes to WrestleMania. I didn't really see any surprises, so the only surprise was the main event, how it went. So,
all right. Of course, there's that element of storyline, just like there is in the sport of boxing that wrestling fans devour. But I was mentioning this, Drew, because I know this news is going to impact the sport of boxing because this is tremendous news. You've got the biggest combat sports promoter, the UFC, signing on to a merger. And this is incredible. $21.4 billion that's going to see a merger under one house of WWE and the UFC, Drew. How does the sport of boxing compete, man? Oh, I don't know how we're going to compete against that, Drew. We're already, in America, boxing is doing so poorly. But now to have these two powerhouses that seem to be doing everything right, one in combat sports and one in wrestling, Drew, do you see anything good that might come out of this for the sport of boxing? Are they going to end up swallowing professional boxing or start eating away at these top ranks and buying the zone? This is a lot of money here, Drew.
Well, if you look at it like this, Dana White has said before he would like to get into the boxing game and promote fighters. WWE also said they wanted to have a boxing promotional company.
Yeah, we've seen Usyk in there. We've seen Floyd Mayweather over the years. We've even seen the Paul brothers in there, right? They're kind of across. They're doing cross promotions between wrestling and celebrity boxing and professional boxing.
Yeah, it's be honest, there's a lot of things that can impact boxing. Like they have Ryan Garcia on the pregame show on night one on Saturday.
God.
Trying to promote the fight.
Well, listen, speaking of that, saludos to Mom Food who just joined us. Mom Food, I see my boy Chicano Prophet. Speaking of Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, Drew, that episode, All Access, which were so, a lot of boxing fans can remember back to when the first episodes of that came on with Floyd Mayweather, and that was some damn good storytelling, Drew. But I missed the old voiceover actor. I miss the old guy doing the voiceover. I wasn't feeling it. Me and my wife were just watching that Davis thing. And I'll tell you what, more than 1 million people tuned into YouTube to catch that first episode, Drew. And already, I think you and I are going to start debating over the next 3 weeks how big this fight in Las Vegas is going to do. As far as the pay-per-view numbers, I don't know. I think my wife said she heard you say 300K, less than 300K.
I'm saying between, it doesn't do no more than 400, but I'm going between 250 to 300K.
Chicano Prophet, let me know, man. Call in the show. I haven't heard from you in a minute. Yeah, that episode of All Access was pretty good. I don't know if we're talking about the same one. I beg to differ, man. I kind of miss the old way they used to do it. I don't know if I was feeling that, Drew. I don't know, but I think it's going to work. Listen, they need to hammer this show with only 3 weeks left to promote it. They need to hammer it to get the pay-per-view numbers up, Drew, because, man, I heard Bob Arum over the weekend in that interview said that his sources told him that the fight between Caleb Plant and Benavidez, a fight he said was a damn good fight, and he likes both of these fighters, that he heard it did how much, Drew? Did you hear what he claimed it did? Pay-per-view sales?
I'm hearing it did 49,000.
Fuck.
But you know what? But you know what? I thought the fight should have easily done like 250 to 300K, but I'm not surprised it only did 49,000. If it only did 49,000, because PBC too long has went bringing on cards that really don't deserve to be pay-per-view quality cards.
Yeah.
And like they just burned their bridges with a lot of pay-per-view markets. And this was bound when you have a good card finally, it was not going to show up. And this was the product of it. It didn't show up because you did it too long. You wasted too much of your resources on it. Mm-hmm. And this is the result you get for it.
Hey, 503. Sorry, Drew, we got a caller, man. Let's take this call. We'll get back to that thought. 503, you're on the Shoe Shine.
What's happening? This is the Chicano Prophet calling in.
What's up, Chicano, man? We were just going over those numbers, the Caleb Plant, David Benavidez numbers. Of course, I don't have a source, man. I'm just saying, repeating what I overheard Bob Arum talking about, that those numbers were pretty pathetic. And we find ourselves in a super fight. You know, Ryan Garcia's calling this a super fight. The return of the super fights. Are they doing everything they should be doing to get those views up as far as driving up pay-per-view sales?
You know, they do. They are doing everything that they should be doing. It irritates me a little bit because I think they're reaching sometimes. Like, does boxing need this fight? I mean, I would enjoy it, but let's call it what it is. It's a glorified cherry pick. That's what it is, right? I don't know how Tank was able to convince people that Ryan Garcia was a good opponent. He should be doing more at his age with all the hype that he has, right? But I do like this fight. I like that it's a grudge match, and you all were talking about the All Access, and it was entertaining to see both sides of it. And so I did like it for that fact, in the sense that this is a good fight between the two fighters because they don't really like each other that much. Although I do think at the end of this all, I think they will be friends. Okay.
Drew, your thoughts? Have you seen that thing already?
No, I haven't watched it. Be honest, they're going to have to put all stops to promote this fight.
When you mean all stops, the undercard was announced today. Drew, I got to ask you, because you told me about a fight. I don't know if you're looking forward to that one, by the Janibek versus Gabe Rosado rematch. You know, that ended in a dramatic KO for not Janibek. I'm sorry, Bek the Bully. My apologies. Chicano, have you heard about that undercard? Because it does feature David Morrell, who I want to see in action because, right now what's fresh in my mind is this Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. And so I'm not excited about his opponent, but so far, what do you think of that undercard that was announced today?
Yes, from what I've heard, very decent undercard. I'm pretty surprised that it's going to be this decent, but they should put some decent names on there because this is an event. It feels like an event, and I am excited to see about David Morrell's potential moving forward. But Dave, I don't know much about this opponent, so it sounds like it's a scrub. Is that right?
No, I don't have his name in front of me. I believe it's an African opponent, but right now he's got a paper title and he's got to look good and impressive. And while people are thinking about Caleb Plant and David Benavidez and the potential showdown between David Benavidez and David Morrell, it's got to be kind of a showcase fight. I mean, sometimes these undercards end up being showcase fights for fighters they want to promote, and also because of the amount that they have to pay Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis. I don't think they could stretch the budget to get big, like really good undercard. So surprisingly, hey, I'm good with the Bekdabuli Gabe Rosado fight. Drew, are you?
Yeah, it's a good rematch.
I mean, Gabe, Gabe was just fucked over by Zurdo Ramirez. He was in shape, ready to go. So, man, Chicano, you like the fact that Gabe Rosado's he stayed in shape. Just weeks later, he's being rewarded with an opportunity.
Yes, I'm happy for him. I'll be curious to see if he could still pull off another miracle. Like when he beat Bekdabuli the last time, he was able to parlay that into some good consecutive fights because, hey, we all thought Gabe Rosado was back because Bekdabuli was on the come up. But it could have been a lucky shot. Also, Gabe Rosado has more wear on him. So can he pull it off again? That's a good question. I actually am looking forward to that one. And I would be curious to see the odds on that one, too.
Yeah. Well, let's ask you, Chicano, what was the reason you called in? Because I'm going to get right into that AJ Smith thing, man. You want to comment on the AJ fight, Anthony Joshua versus Franklin, a fight that looked like a, oh, man. Did you watch that fight?
Yeah, I did. I watched it. I was bored to death. My initial impressions of that fight were that Anthony Joshua really should have taken care of business. Franklin was this undersized dude who was supposed to get sparked out. I feel like Anthony Joshua has simply lost the killer instinct. I feel like his natural ability, which was never really there to begin with, in my opinion. I always felt like he just wasn't that natural of a fighter. Didn't have that good of a rhythm, if you ask me. Although I feel like, he can do the moves, but he's a bit more robotic. He has to have people tell him how to think in there. And the ascent is over. I don't think he's ever going to be a champion again unless he could somehow pick up like a trinket that just drops after Undisputed happens. I do think it's over. And Joshua, his performance was, if I had to rate it, I would say it was like a C. And I think that a lot of fighters could beat him now at this point. So I do think the best thing for Eddie Hearn would be to try to cash out on AJ right now as soon as possible. And I'll take this off the air.
I appreciate it, man.
Call in and
thank
for the record. Yeah, for sure, man. You got peace.
Everybody, make sure you check out Al Chile on YouTube. I appreciate Chicano Prophet. Drew, the reason why I call this shit the Hollywood finish, Anthony Joshua will not have a Hollywood finish, is because I actually watched that Apollo Creed 3 movie finally this weekend, Drew. And I watched it at the end of watching all the boxing. I started to get into it. And I'm like, well, this movie's not as bad as the critics have panned it to be. It's really not that bad until you get to the preposterous shit that is Hollywood. All right, first of all, Drew, if you haven't seen it, which you told me you haven't seen it, you had an issue with David Benavidez going around, calling himself the Mexican Monster, which Mike Tyson gave him that moniker, the Mexican Monster. Boy, his brother, that's right, Jose Benavidez, who you saw fight Terrence Bud Crawford. Jose Benavidez is the Mexican heavyweight champion of the world in this movie, Drew. And I got to tell you, he did a good job acting, Drew. But even a seasoned Hollywood actor cannot pull off being a 154-pound fighter pretending to be the heavyweight fucking champion of the world. Did you guys see that fucking movie? Are you guys okay? Excuse my language. Jose Benavidez, the heavyweight champion of the world? Yeah, okay. So somehow he loses his title to a guy coming out of prison, right, Drew? All right. And a nobody with no professional fights who was a Golden Gloves winner goes on to take Jose Benavidez, the Mexican heavyweight champion of the world's title, only to have Apollo Creed, or whatever his name is, Jr., come out of retirement, Drew, to fight for the heavyweight title at the Dodgers Stadium, Drew. And I only reference this because the O2 Arena is the backyard of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Those are still super fights, Drew. But I'm telling you right now, we have a hard enough time selling Fundora versus Brian Mendoza, a Showtime fight in Carson, California, this weekend at the StubHub, or whatever you want to call it, the stomping grounds, the war grounds, Drew. Let alone to think about U.S. boxing filling up an entire fucking baseball stadium like Anthony Joshua does. Man, Anthony Joshua's not getting a Hollywood finish to his career, Drew, because quite honestly, this guy doesn't even like to fight anymore. Are you guys with me? Call in 702-710-3627. I need to know what you guys are thinking, whether you put it in the chat, whether you put it in the comments. But Drew, it looks to me like Anthony Joshua could care less about getting punched in the face anymore, because every time he took one of these Franklin right hands, and the guy's disadvantaged by how much in reach, but Franklin made it with a flush 1-2 repeatedly in this fight. And every single time, Anthony Joshua is clinching for dear life to stop the fight, to stop the momentum of the fight. Yeah, look at this nice right hand in this picture I got here, Drew. But to me, after he busted his nose in the second round, man, he did not want to be in this fight. He did not want to. Give me your guys' take, man. Give me your take, Drew.
It's like this. He's waiting for somebody to put him out of his misery. It's like the old yellow. Let's take him behind the barn and shoot him down and end it. Because here's the thing. It was not a good performance. He looked like shit.
Wait, yeah, Apollo Creed 3 wasn't a good performance because, Drew, by the third round of Anthony Joshua versus Franklin, actually, by the third round of the movie that I was watching, Apollo Creed, I was waiting for that fight to be over. And it's exactly what it was I was saying earlier in the day when I was watching Anthony Joshua. By round 3, I was waiting for that shit to be over. I was waiting for him to knock out Franklin, even though I didn't think he would. And I said it on the roundtable on Thursday before that. Franklin is scrappy. And he was potentially going to make Anthony Joshua look like shit. And that's my opinion. That's my take. I don't know, man. Convince me otherwise that Anthony Joshua looks like he even belongs in the top 5 at this point.
Like, here's the thing. Anthony Joshua, if you look at the whole top 10 heavyweight division, I'm telling you possibly maybe 7 out of the 10 possibly beat him. And I'll tell you this right now. Possibly 5 of them knock him out. Stop him.
Yeah, I'd like to hear these 5 people. Let's take this 510 call. And we'll get to Drew. Five guys that knock out Anthony Joshua today. I got to hear this list. All right, 510, you were on the Shoe Shine. ¿Qué pasa? Yo. My bad, 510, you're on the Shoe Shine.
Hey, hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. ¿Qué pasa, Nando?
Damn, I was getting ready to say his fucking Wi-Fi went, now his fucking phone line went.
Hey, dude, don't be making fun of my stuff, man. I got T-Mobile, homie. I'm low budget, man.
I got T-Mobile too, bro. Maybe it's my fucking podcast doing it.
I got AT&T. Enjoy your fucking T-Mobile.
Man, Nando, did you watch this fight in the middle of the day?
Dude.
Or did you catch it on the replay later in the day?
No, I watched it live, dude. I'm falling asleep, man. Dude, this is brutal, dude. I don't know what's going on with Anthony Joshua, but it kind of reminds me of the 90s version of Mike Tyson. You know, like, Tyson, man, in the 90s, dude, he wasn't the same guy no more, man. They had to, like, be real careful with it, matched up with them. And before every fight, man, Tyson was talking a lot of shit, man, selling a lot of wolf tickets, right? The day of the fight, nothing, man. It'd be all a bunch of bullshit, man. You know, buying people's ears or just getting punked by Lennox Lewis, man. You know, like this is what I seen AJ do. He doesn't look like he's interested anymore. He doesn't look like he wants it anymore. And he can keep on changing all the trainers he wants. But so he actually wants it. It's not technique, dude. It's not technique. It's not talent. It's ambition. It's, you know, wanting it. It's the eyes of tiger, you know, going back to Rocky 3, you know. Like, he doesn't have it anymore. I don't see it.
Yeah, our boy Little Penny says, AJ's first 8 rounds were good, but the last 4 rounds, AJ should have looked for the KO. I think he did step it up rounds 10, 11, 12, but, man, he still couldn't get away that Franklin. He's pesky enough, and he doesn't like to be countered. AJ doesn't like to receive any punishment back. Right, Drew?
I was looking for a pillow.
You were what?
I was looking for my pillow because that fight almost
Well, it almost put me to sleep, like I said, like the Apollo Creed movie. By the way, Nando, did you see the Apollo Creed 3 with the new one?
Nah, they think so spoilers, so I was about to, man. I need to know more.
Well, listen. The story isn't bad if you can get past the preposterous shit, and it's nice to see people like Stitch Duran. You get to see Terrence Bud Crawford make an acting debut. It's nice to see Jose Benavidez get a role in it. It's nice to see all these people that should be in the movie. But for American boxing fans to pretend that we're gonna sell out the Dodger Stadium. What a pipe dream, man. I wish we were doing business like the UK boxing fans.
I'm going to be honest, dude. I fell asleep in the first Creed movie, man, at the movie theater, dude. And I haven't watched any of them since, man. I thought the first one was hella slow, too, man. So I never really got into any of the Creed movies, man. You know? Sorry.
But Well, I got you on the phone, bro. Where does AJ go from here? Because most American fans are highly critical of him. I'd like to see him have a fight against Deontay Wilder. And I say that because, listen, I just saw Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez, two guys who were former champions at 168, two guys that don't need to fight each other. In many ways, Anthony Joshua doesn't need to fight someone as dangerous as Deontay Wilder because he could get this fight against Tyson Fury. He sells tickets. He could fight Tyson Fury next at the O2 Arena, win, lose. He's still going to make a boatload of money. He doesn't have to fight anyone like Deontay Wilder, but I want to see him fight Deontay Wilder. So, Drew, hit me up. Who are the 5 guys that knock out Anthony Joshua right now?
Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Joe Joyce. Let's see. Who else do I think can knock out Anthony Joshua?
How about Jared Anderson?
Yeah, Big Baby Anderson. and I'll be honest, I think Andy Ruiz can still knock him out.
On a good night.
And here's the other thing, man. But I'll be honest with you, that Dillian White fight turns into a 50-50 fight where Dillian could get a stoppage. It's just, this all turned around for fucking AJ is possibly losing to 7 of the top 10 fighters in this division. I really think if you look at this list, if you look at the heavyweight rankings, I could possibly find more fighters that can probably beat him. I think Joseph Parker beats him now still. I thought Joseph Parker won that fight when he fought Anthony Joshua. So I think, it's just really, it's time to cash out because it's really hard to match him now because he's in that contract with DAZN that he's owning 9 figures. And you got to have they fucked themselves out of this deal because he was in the Usyk fight, the second fight, was somewhat of a crossroads fight. Because if he would have lost, where the fuck does he go from here? And now the same question is, where the fuck does he go from here?
Man, there's only one place to go, and that's to make as much money as you can before you announce your retirement. And that really is to fight Tyson Fury, Drew. So I got to put this picture up because, okay, the negotiations for this super heavyweight fight, the ultimate thing you can get in the sport, which is not just unification, but undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Usyk versus Fury has fallen apart. It fell apart roughly last week or so. Bob Arum has made a statement on what he says was, in his opinion, what really was the heart of the matter of why it fell apart. Nando, did you hear Bob Arum's interview where he discussed the Saudi influence and how both of these fighters essentially were waiting to see this offer, if the Saudi offer would come to fruition, because both of them absolutely want to make as much money as possible. Now, I know we were ready to assign blame, Drew. Everyone seems to have an opinion about who actually was the reason that this fell apart, but Bob says it was neither of these guys.
Tell you the truth, they could have easily do that, but if Fury goes and fights Joshua and knocks him out and wins the fight and everything, that if Josh and then if Usyk goes from fights made he's mandated to fight Daniel Dubois.
Right. We're gonna let's talk about that. Nando, did you hear about that? That Usyk's being forced by the WBA. All of a sudden it matters. Now you got to defend this mandatory small title, the weakest, the WBA title, the most insignificant one of the 4. Are you okay with him if he's not going to fight Fury fighting Dubois, who got knocked out by Joyce, right, Drew? You got knocked out.
Yeah,
Nando, you still with us?
Joyce.
Yeah, I'm listening.
You like this fight?
I didn't want to interrupt you guys.
No, man. You like this fight?
I kind of do for 2 reasons. It's a stay busy fight,
Mm-hmm.
and you just never know, man. Dubois does have power. He does have talent. His biggest issues are from the neck up, but he could give Usyk some trouble. It could be a fun fight while it lasts, and Usyk, you don't want Usyk or Tyson Fury really waiting around until December, November for that Saudi fight, right? You want them staying active, So it's a good fight. If Daniel Dubois and Usyk fight in a couple months, and Fury fights Joe Joyce, That's fine by me. As long as they fight, in the interim.
Yeah, Joe Joyce got to date with the Zalil Zanger coming up, and that's a good fight too. Drew, Chicano Prophet says, don't nobody give a crap about Dubois. Dubois,
like
whatever
this.
his name is.
I don't think Dubois is going to give Usyk any problems. I think Dubois' chin is a huge question.
What about the orbital bone that was smashed?
And that too, that is a question. And I will pick Usyk by stoppage over Dubois. I think he will be Usyk's first heavyweight knockout.
Really?
And I don't think too much of Daniel Dubois and everything. A cruiserweight moved up and should have stopped him and had him hurt and everything.
All right, but I kind of agree with Nando. It might be fun to watch while it lasts, but this kind of mystere that Dubois was going to be the next big thing in heavyweight boxing, man. Joyce quickly put an end to that with that stoppage and smashing of the young prospect's orbital bone. One thing that's really interesting, guys, Robeisy Ramirez trains out of the Salas Boxing Gym here, the Cuban School of Boxing, Salas Boxing, right here in Las Vegas. Is a gym I'm eager to check out. Joe Joyce has been here since the David Benavidez fight. He was at that fight. I'm sure he's training now for the Zalil fight. And then this Saturday, man, you've got Brian Mendoza, who gave Jesus Ramos Jr., in my opinion, he gave him was the best opponent Jesus Ramos Jr. has fought to date. And Brian Mendoza, a Las Vegas local, he's going to be going up against a towering Inferno this Saturday, man. So will he have the kind of success? I mean, the two-time Olympian. We're going to get into that Robeisy Ramirez fight because he is the new featherweight champion, and there's a lot of interesting things at the featherweight title. We can go right into it now if you guys want to wrap up your thoughts on this, Drew. Your thoughts on this, AJ? Let's go. AJ's career, is it going to have a Hollywood finish, Drew? Is it going to have a finish worthy of a Rocky movie, or is he just going to ride off into oblivion with a boatload of money?
Take him behind the bar and put him out of his misery. That's what he's waiting for.
And ultimately, guys, do you guys think this fight is going to happen? Like, Bob Arum has good faith. This fight is going to happen. He preferred it to be now under his control and the other promoters at the O2 Arena. It doesn't look like the Saudi money that was being talked about, that even building a brand new stadium for these guys. There's still a possibility about that. There's still a possibility, Drew.
Here's the thing. If Fury fights Anthony Joshua and knocks him out, that will help the Saudis agree to about a fight and everything. That's going to be the ice on the cake. Fury destroys Joshua.
If I'm Anthony Joshua, I'm taking this fight in 12 weeks. I'm taking a month off and going right into camp, man. I'm getting in that ring with Tyson Fury this summer. It's a tremendous fight. Easy to sell, already guaranteed sellout at the O2 Arena.
You're making probably on a good day, you probably make 15 million, and you probably make 15, 20 million in that fight, regardless. So it's a cash out fight. Like I really, you gotta look at it like this. AJ's washed. He is. He looked horrible in that fight. He doesn't have the confidence anymore. It's just he ain't gonna be able to box for 12 rounds without gassing out when he's fighting these top heavyweights that are coming at him and everything. He's gonna have to fucking move around and punch. It's not gonna happen. Franklin is a guy that couldn't hurt him, but Franklin had a lot of success with the right hand. He was able to counter him. He was going to get the straight right hand going. He was able to get that double jab going. Like, even though he won 2 rounds, really tell you the truth, Anthony Joshua looked like shit.
Yeah, like you said, he only, according to their judges, won 2 rounds. I would have been more gracious with that. But this is the first time that guy, Franklin, trained completely without going to a day job. The first time he's had a professional camp without actually working a day job. And he gave Anthony Joshua 12 rounds. So that says a lot about where he's at right now, man. But listen, the featherweight division, Top Rank had their own card. And this one is really interesting, Drew, because this was a vacated title that the Mexican fighter that has been so fun to watch, Navarrete, vacated in moving up to 130 pounds and getting his own strap now at 130. Nando, all the featherweight champions are Mexican again, except Robeisy Ramirez, the Cuban 2-time gold medalist. What was your take, man? You're still with us here? Did you like what you saw from Robeisy
Yeah, I'm here,
Ramirez?
dude. You know what? Absolutely not, dude. This is the reason I don't give a shit about Olympic gold medals, dude. Because this guy has 2 of them. Supposedly he was supposed to be the next great thing. He already lost his first fight.
Yes, he did.
Top Rank had to maneuver him into a vacant belt against Dogbe. He's been washed for a couple of years already. And now, I heard D-Style last week was saying that Robeisy Ramirez is already better than any featherweight. Hell no, dude. What's his face? Will break his foot off in his ass, dude. Lara will break his foot off in his ass. You wear him out. Like Robeisy Ramirez to me is like the bottom 4 of all the featherweight champions. Like that guy, dude, did not impress me. He had a hard time with the washed Dogbe. What's he gonna do with Marco Lara's up his butt, dude? He's gonna. I think he already knows, dude. That's what he's talking about, fighting Joel Gonzalez, taking on Lara, taking on Martinez, taking on Renalo. He doesn't want none of those guys. He's talking about fighting Joel Gonzalez, who he throws a lot of punches, but none of them hurt. Robeisy Ramirez is a hype show. Has been since day one, and nothing that he has done to show me anything different, dude. That guy's gonna get knocked the fuck out by whoever the fuck, really steps to him.
Man, Yusuf, you made so many great points. Drew, like the career trajectory of Lomachenko, all right, I'm going to take this graphic down for a quick second, but these are the 4 featherweight champions of the world, and I'm going to see how this ties into local homeboys of ours from Salinas, California. You guys didn't already know. Today it was announced that Ruben Villa from Salinas, Drew, that I went down to check out his gym after performing so well at the Thompson boxing card. He got to fight Navarrete during the bubble, the pandemic, okay? Just signed a 4-fight deal. So I want to fucking send a shout out to Salinas' very own Ruben Villa. Congratulations, man. A 4-fight deal signed and delivered today. He'll be fighting as the co-main Stockton Arena, May 13th. Drew, this is just a week before the big Lomachenko-Haney. All eyes will be in Stockton, California. I am 100% guaranteed, certain that they're going to sell out this fight. And if you didn't know, Nando, did you hear who was headlining it? There's only one reason why it's in Stockton, and that's the return of Gabe Flores. Wake up, Drew. Gabe Flores is back.
Kazakhstan's back too, I guess. Kazakhstan's going to be after 2, right?
Who's on the card too?
He's going to be after 2, I think. I think so.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's going to be a fun card. And the one thing about what Rick Miriagan can produce, man, is that in the Central Valley, in Fresno, and now in Stockton, he's going to put on a show. It's going to be really interesting to see what Gabe Flores does because, I just had the graphic up, man, but Gabe Flores was almost, for certain, it appeared that his career was over. His dad refused to throw in his towel against current featherweight champion, Luis Alberto Lopez, the guy who wasn't supposed to come to Top Rank and upset San Jose, California's, our homeboy over here at Tiburon, Andy Vences, upset him, and then went on to really put a number on poor Gabe Flores at 130 pounds, bro. He melted down at 126, became the UK road dog, and like Lara, that you just brought up, bro, he went over to the UK to get his belt. We saw that, Drew, and now he's going to be fighting your Irish countryman, Mick Conlan. So this is a very interesting dynamic, Drew, one where we have 3 current featherweight champions from Mexico. We have the potential for Luis Alberto Lopez to lose his title against a very dangerous Mick Conlan. But Nando, you brought up a great freaking point about professional boxers and boxers who've had tremendous amateur careers. And one of them, and there's no better example than Lomachenko, Drew. 400 plus career wins as an amateur, 2-time gold medalist, and in his second pro career fight, loses. Robeisy Ramirez, in his first professional fight, Nando, you nailed it, got knocked down by Adán González. Adán González, I believe is his name. Nobody saw that fight. A lot of people, only the hardcore people have gone back and watched that fight. But he loses his pro debut. So we get back, we can make this conversation, we can have the debate whether a long, lengthy amateur career means shit when you get to the professional ranks. What's your take, Nando, since you brought up this great point?
Well, for me, right, like I was doing the amateur. I kind of respect it a little bit. I don't want to disrespect it too much. But for me, like if you watch football, right, just because you're a Heisman Trophy winner in college does not make you a Pro Football Hall of Famer. A lot of times those Heisman Trophy winners, which are the best player in college football, wash out when they get to the NFL. And that happens a lot with these boxers too, man, the amateur boxers. And here's another thing too. There's another reason why you guys have 2 gold medals like Lomachenko or Bader Ramirez. Because they wait till they're in their fucking mid-20s and are beating up on little teenagers to get those gold medals, dude. It's the same reason we came up with the Dream Team back in 1992, right? Because we got tired of the Russians beating up on our college kids in the Olympics, right? In 88, we lost the Olympic gold medal to Russia. And then we had the Dream Team in 92. It's for the same reason. We had a bunch of teenagers going up against grown men from Russia in basketball. And that's why we had the Dream Team. It's the same thing in amateur boxing. You guys wait till they're in their mid-20s like Lomachenko, Usyk, Golovkin, Bader Ramirez, and to get unfair advantage, man. I watched it this past Summer Olympics when that kid from Tulare got beat up by Javalov, who was like 26, 27 years old. You know, how's that a fair fight? And how are you placing that guy up on a pedestal? You know, when he's beating up on a 20-year-old. You know, that's why I think the whole amateur thing is bullshit, man. Because you guys like rigged the game to win those gold medals. You know, it's not fair. And like I said, it doesn't often translate. If you look at Wikipedia, if you look at all the Olympic medalists, man, good luck finding some really good pro boxers in there. About maybe 1 in 10 is a great, ends up becoming a great world professional boxer. More often than not, these guys who win the medals don't do shit in the pros. You know, in spite of all the hype they get.
Drew, your take on that? Amateur boxing, does it mean anything at the end of the day? That wealth of experience?
Well, at the end of the day, when you're talking about Heisman, Devontae Smith, my Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver is not a bust, and he won the Heisman Trophy. He's actually one of the top receiver in the NFL. Thank you very much. But, you know, he won a vacated title. So I don't know what's the hype about him. I think somebody having a premature wet dream when it comes to talking about him and everything. Wink, wink. And
D-Style had him as the number 1 featherweight before he even fought on Saturday. D-Style was saying that guy's the number 1 featherweight before he even beat Bobby.
He's nowhere near the number 1 featherweight. Let's cut that out right now. That's fucking bullshit right there. That's a stupid take. It really is. I think it's a stupid take, in my opinion. I'm allowed to, have my opinion. I think it's a stupid take, in my opinion. He's not the number 1 featherweight. I think Ray Vargas can give him some problems. I think Law beats him. I don't think he's going to be able to go with a guy that's a banger like Law. That pressure, I don't think he's going to be able to handle that pressure. And Lopez is somewhat the same thing. I don't think he's going to be able to handle those 3 guys. I think Mike Holland beats him and everything. Is soon to be an Irish fighter winning that title. But Dogboe, like you said, he's been washed up for a while. Dogboe isn't even built. To tell you the truth, he's moving up. He's not built for that. He should go back down and wait.
I talked about Hollywood endings, man. Dogboe is the epitome of his storyline. Is the epitome of Hollywood, man. Both of these fighters, of course, international boxing stars and whatnot. But I put, Chicano says Dave's hiding. Okay, Drew, you and I had the pleasure of being on this. One time we did this, Twitch Sports special before Tyson Fury fight with Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis, the silver medalist, versus Andy Cruz. Y'all remember the Olympics? We're talking about amateur. But I want to give a shout out to Lukey Boxing, our boy Lukey Boxing, who's been on the show with us. He's a great writer for NY Fights, and now he's writing for Pro Box TV too. And he interviewed Frank Martin, Drew. And I just saw Frank Martin fight in December and just beat the crap out of that guy. I don't even remember the guy's name. Do you guys remember that guy's name? He looks like Muhammad Ali Jr. Anyways, Frank Martin, a contender at 135 pounds who looked very impressive this past December, had some words to say about amateur boxers like Keyshawn Davis, who fights at 135 too. He says that they're getting basically, I'm paraphrasing, guys, that they're getting the Kush treatment over there at Top Rank because Keyshawn Davis has the benefit of training with everybody who's important. Like Terrence Bud Crawford, he gets to train with and spar with all these guys. then why the hell is he not knocking out everybody he faces professionally? What's wrong with the transition? He's a silver medalist, and he's a lousy professional boxer, according to Frank Martin. I'm paraphrasing. He's turned into kind of a disappointment at lightweight over at Top Rank. He thinks it's a disappointment with his career. Why isn't he beating the crap out of everybody if he's training with Terrence Bud Crawford and everybody else? And he says, and I'm paraphrasing, guys, there's only so much ring IQ left to grow. If he's already done the international circuit and he's faced all types of fighters, the world's best. He's fought this Cuban guy, Andy Cruz, who's probably going to go on to be a hell of a professional fighter. I think he just defected and is making his way to a professional boxing career. Then why isn't there room for growth? So is that what you guys are saying? Is this Chad basically saying Robeisy Ramirez, he's hit the ceiling already? And when he fights these guys like Lara, these incredible professional boxers who may not have this wealth of experience of being a medalist at the Olympics, does it mean shit? Because I got to remind you guys, like Ruben Villa was a tremendous national amateur, but he didn't go fight and represent us in the Olympics. He turned pro. A lot of guys have. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. A lot of these guys forego the Olympics and the, that elite level amateur path.
I look at it like this. I think that people are overhyping him now. Like, he's Trovin one, but the thing about it is, he won a vacated title. Like, let's look at it like this. You can't compare it to Lomachenko, let's say, because he had a long amateur career and fucking Lomachenko lost his second fight. But then he went and became a 3-division world champion in his 8th or 9th fight.
Again, too, though. Again, too. He has all his big fights.
Do you have to put on
Lomachenko one? He's a paper champion, too, man. His best wins Pedraza and Gary Russell. Big whoop-de-doo. Big whoop-de-doo.
But here's the thing. Gary Russell was on the pound-for-pound top 5 list at the time when he dominated him. Wiegandel was on the top 5 pound-for-pound list when he dominated him. Come on, man. Stop it, man. You're talking about Ryan Garcia.
Gary Russell's not going to sniff the Hall of Fame. Gary Russell will not even get one vote for the Hall of Fame. All right?
He was on that pound-for-pound
That's
list.
the real. That's the real.
He was on the top 5 pound-for-pound list at the time, Nando.
He was hyped up, too.
You're like a fucking tape recorder, dude. Nando, you're like a fucking tape recorder. He needs a big ring. He doesn't have a big ring. Let me play the back.
He does.
Everybody get on there and just play it on you.
All right, I like the chat is lighting up. We got some new names. Nerd, thank you, Nerd, for joining. Kevin Knight, who corrected me.
I'm gonna start calling Nando two-time. Like they call it Jimmy two-time on Goodfellas.
Hey, Nerd in the chat says that the Gary Russell fight was a good fight, and I happen to think those are some pretty good wins. So I have to ask you, Nando, because I'm kind of on the same page with you that Robeisy Ramirez may kind of be a hype job. He does have some really good skills. I have to admit, I like his skill set. I like what he's able to do. He does carry knockout power, which is kind of rare from the Cuban School of Boxing, which is why I like David Morrell, who's going to be on the undercard of the Davis Tank Garcia fight. But did he learn something? Did he learn something from being in his first professional fight, getting knocked down against someone he was supposed to obviously be in a showcase fight? Is he learning from that? Is he never going to make that mistake again? Shout out Santiago Media, my homeboy. Shout out to you. I think he is, but I don't think he beats all those 4 title lists, those guys holding the featherweight titles. But he's probably only going to get a crack to unify against the other top-ranked belt, which is Elvanado Lopez versus Conlon. And Drew, if Elvanado Lopez's lucky streak, he's, like I said, he beat the crap out of Gabe Flores. He had a very competitive, close fight against 130-pound former contender Andy El Tiburon Vences. And he picked up these wins on the road to a title, but he's going to have that luck in Ireland? Oh, no, man. I don't know if he's going to continue on this lucky streak.
Here's the thing. Mike Collin is a better fighter than Josh Warrington by far. Like, Warrington does not have power to keep somebody, is not a good enough boxer, or does not possess the power to keep somebody off him for 12 rounds. That was the main issue why Lopez won that fight. he does not have the power or or boxing IQ or skills to keep a guy like him off him for 12 rounds. And let's put that out there right now. Ramirez, he ain't beating none of those three. Not even Vargas. He's not beating none of them. He's not beating Mike Collin. He's not beating Ray Vargas, Eval Lopez, or Law. He's not beating them. This is a guy it's a bet. Like, he fought a guy that was also moving up in Isaac Dorbe that's not built for this weight division. He's a big guy at the last weight he was at, but he's not built for this division. And that just showed it. He's not built for it. This is an easy way to get a vacated title. And, like, I don't see what the hype is about him. I think this is a premature hype. And, like, to say he's the best in this division is a horrible take, in my opinion. So, like, I'm glad we all three of us agreed on this and everything. So
I don't know if we
at
all
the end
agree
of
on
the
it.
day,
Nando,
day,
Nando, you still here?
fuck.
Nando, I gotta ask you, man.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Should Mick Conlon get the nod in a decision against Luis Alberto Lopez, and he becomes the other featherweight at Top Rank? You have no choice but to watch eventually Robeisy Ramirez and two-time gold medalists, or Mick Conlon, or no, I'm sorry, he didn't get the gold in a controversial. He was very upset about that, but a two-time Olympian, Mick Conlon.
Yeah.
Who do you think wins that? I mean, you think that's a fight Bob is eager to make, or do you think our homeboy from Salinas, California, Ruben Villa, is going to get a crack first in the middle of these fights happening before these two unifications happen?
Well, I think, like, first of all, I agree with you. I think Mick Conlon will beat Venado. I think Venado's kind of like lucky to have a title. You know, he kind of fought the right guy to get that title. I think Venado has a feeling on his talent, and I think we will get Ruben Torres. We will get the local guy. He will be in the mix with the rest of those guys because he's kind of similar to all of them. Light hitting, you know. He's a great boxer, but like he's kind of like Mick Conlon, he's like the Chicano version of Mick Conlon. You know, great boxer, but not a lot of power. You know. So I think we'll get like a round robin going amongst those four guys, right? Robeisy, Mick Conlon, Venado, and Ruben Torres. And, you know, it'll make for a fun fight, but we won't see any knockouts, you know. It's all going to be a bunch of 12-round decisions and with a few controversial ones mixed in. But the problem is we'll never get to see any of those four guys go up against Mauricio Lara, you know.
You're right.
Lara kind of like
here's a question.
Rex Soto's guys.
Here's a question. Does he beat Leon Wood or Josh Warrington?
I think those are good
Who's
fights.
that? You do.
You're talking about Robeisy Ramirez.
Yeah. Does he beat both of them?
He's not going to get an opportunity to fight those top-ranked fighters.
I'll be honest with you. I think Leon Wood beats him. Josh Warrington's a 50-50 fight.
Styles
I think
make
Lee
fights.
Wood
Man.
and Lara are both better than the guys at Top Rank. I think Lee Wood and Mauricio Lara are both better than anybody at Top Rank right now.
And that's, you know, I got a shout out to a nerd in the chat here who says Figueroa at 126 is also a problem. I think he beats Vargas, and he's talking about Ray Vargas. And that is it, man. That's the thing. We got two belt holders currently at Top Rank. Lara over at the Zone doing his own thing. I'd love to see him fight everybody there, man. Lara would just, because he's that kind of fighter that, like you said, man, that Styles make fights, and Lara versus somebody who's a technician like the Cuban fighter. I already seen what Adon Gonzalez could do in his, you know, that kind of, the right kind of fighter could upset a technician like that, like what we just saw Robeisy Ramirez, man. I think it's only a matter of time till the right fighter comes along. But it's interesting because, like, Ruben Villa from Salinas, man, he's a tactical technician who has amateur wins. In 2015, he fought Shakur Stevenson 4 times, I believe, and he came away with 2 victories against Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson also a fantastic technician, man. Sometimes those aren't the most exciting fights, Drew. And by the way, I got a picture up of Haney versus Loma. You see the size difference? Even Bob Arum, he said today that he is using the promotion. They kind of put chess. They're putting graphics up with a chessboard, Drew, that this is going to be a tactical chess match. And he thinks hardcore boxing fans are going to eat it up, but that he is concerned about pay-per-view sales, which is why they've made this one of the cheapest pay-per-views of the year, coming in at $59.99, because he says right now every fight is a risk and it's an experiment. as they try to bring back fans to purchasing pay-per-views, man. So I'll take both of you guys' thoughts on this, man. Bob Arum saying $59.99, that's an experiment, man. We're trying to figure out what boxing fans are willing to pay to get these numbers up.
It's like this. It's a smart method because nobody's paying $85 for bullshit fights anymore.
What is the fight? What is Garcia Tank going for?
$85 or 88? I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's in the 80s.
Ridiculous.
Wow.
But here's the thing. It's being smart because the boxing fan in general is starting to become more smart with what to spend his money on when you're talking about fights. And now you got the illegal streams being more active now and everything. Like, a lot of people like this. If you're giving me this bullshit to watch and make me pay for it, I'll watch it on a legal stream for nothing to say fuck you to you later and everything. But it's an okay price to start off with, $60.
Mm-hmm.
I would have went 50.
You know what, dude? I think this is a smart move by Top Rank, and I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember, man, but Top Rank used to put on those Latin Fury, Pinoy Power pay-per-view for like $40 back in the day, right? And those were always a lot of fun, man. They had a lot of good fights on them, and it was a reasonable price, back in the 90s, So I think this isn't a bad move by Top Rank, and I know I'm talking a lot of crap about Loma, but I know he's the underdog, and he should be. But I think he can win this fight, man. I have kind of rooting for him, man. I want to see him do it, man. I want to see Loma win a fight as the underdog, which he has never done. He never really has been the underdog. So if he pulls off like a victory against Haney, which everybody is thinking that Haney's going to beat him, that for me that'll say, hey, Loma proved it to me. He's a Hall of Famer. He came from behind, kind of like pulled off a Hopkins or a Pacquiao type underdog victory, man. That's how you become an all-time great. Not with the hype, not what beating guys you're supposed to beat.
Well, listen, they're promoting.
That'll make a big difference.
We're talking about that fight, Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, $80-something for that pay-per-view, and only 4 weeks later in the exact same city at the MGM Grand, a smaller venue, which your boy Dave got seats for. I'm going to be at that Haney-Loma fight. Why? Because, first of all, it's more interesting as a true boxing fan to me. Okay. Second of all, there's no way I'm going to fork over the money it costs to go see Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis in person. Just no way. But I will for Haney and Loma, Drew. And while we still have many weeks to come out with our prediction, I will say this, man, that if Tank Davis knocks out Ryan Garcia and the underdog in Lomachenko pulls off the victory, Drew, there is no other fight that American fans should be asking for this year than Lomachenko versus Tank Davis. That's it. That's the fight to see.
100%.
That's the fight to see. Why? Because they're telling you that that the super fight Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia is the biggest fight, and yet none of them are champions. Ryan Garcia has never been a world champion. Tank Davis has actually never held a major title. And they're trying to sell you that for 80-something, to sell you a bag of dog shit.
Here's the thing about it. Loma wins this fight. Tank ducked him back then. Tank's going to duck him now. Tank's not going to take a risk and fight Lomachenko.
Well, but listen, he's taking a risk fighting Ryan Garcia, so I don't necessarily agree with that. It's will they let him fight him? Will they work together, man? Those two people don't have the best history. Will they recognize now's the time to capitalize on it? Just like David Benavidez has been capitalizing all this time, talking about Canelo. His dad's talking about Canelo again. Still to this day, I see him on YouTube talking about Canelo. You got to capitalize while people are paying attention. There's a good 4-week window. Should Gervonta Tank Davis come out with another impressive knockout win over a supposed superstar, I got to see this fight. I got to see him fight Devin Haney or Lomachenko. Whoever prevails, I want to see him fight the winner of Haney versus Loma.
I'm telling you, it's not going to sit because the Loma fight is a bigger risk than the Ryan Garcia fight. It is. He ducked him back then. He's going to duck him now. That's how it is. He'll tell you the truth. He does not fight none of these top guys after Ryan Garcia. He'll bring a guy, he'll bring Chris Colbert up, fight him, knock him out, call it a day. what's going to happen. That's how they're going to keep Tank going.
I'm still pissed about that Rayo loss to Chris Cooper. I'm sorry, Drew. Kevin Knight, thanks a lot, man. Tank Shakur will be the fight. I believe they're the last two standing at 135 pounds. Kevin Knight, man, I love that fight too. You see them often posed next to each other, and you see the height difference between Loma and Haney here. Well, that seems to be the height difference between Tank and Shakur, who are also pretty close friends. So it'd be kind of weird to have friends fight, but man, this is the fight game. It's prize fighting. So yeah, those two, if those are the two last standing, line that fight up, man. That's one hell of a fight. Styles make fights, and Shakur Stevenson is one of the most fantastic defensive fighters in all of boxing right now. That'd be an incredible fight too. But that kind of implies that Devin Haney's not going to win this fight, or that Devin Haney's going to move up to 140 pounds, which I'm good with that too. Drew, speaking of, there's let's get the fight week, guys, because there's 3 fights this weekend, and they're all should be somewhat remotely entertaining. You got some of the biggest names in boxing fighting this weekend. Bam, I saw our boy right in here, Sonteo Media. Bam Rodriguez returns to DAZN. Does anyone still have a DAZN membership? Drew? Fight week, Bam Rodriguez now back to 112, so he let his brother Franco take over 115. I know nothing about his opponent other than it's probably a showcase fight. Nando, have you heard about who he's fighting? Gonzalez?
No, I never heard of it. I'm excited to see Bam come back in action. And to me, also Franco's like Fredo Corleone, man. I don't really care about him, man. He's getting in the way of Bam's legacy, dude. Bam should stay at 115, man.
Sonteo Media is still in the house. He's listening. Franco, shit, Sonteo says he doesn't have DAZN anymore. Dude, they suckered me into. They suckered me into that. I had to re-up my. I don't know what I did. I hit some link, and next thing I know, I paid for the whole year. I was like, shit. I've just paid for the whole year. What did I do?
See, Dave, Santino's tired of fucking paying for their zone, and he was paying Rodriguez.
Here's another fight live on Showtime Boxing from the Carson City StubHub Center, the War Grounds, whatever you want to call it. Fundora versus Mendoza of Las Vegas. Guys, I was just raving about Mendoza because I think he gave Jesus Ramos, who we just saw on that pay-per-view, one of his best fights. And Drew, you and I interviewed Jesus while he was preparing to fight Mendoza. This guy Mendoza, Brian Mendoza, comes to fight, and I give him credit for taking on this fight because he's in a position at PBC where he has to fight their top contenders to continue to make a career and a payday. And he's behind his coach and staff behind him. If anybody could help him out, come out with a game plan to fight the towering Inferno, it's this dude, Brian Mendoza, and Salas, the Cuban boxing coach out of Las Vegas, man. I think we're going to see this guy, Brian Mendoza, give Fundora work, Drew, but Fundora's on a path to eventually fight Tim Tszyu or the cream of the crop, man. That's how I see it. Fundora by decision on this one. Don't be surprised if Mendoza goes the entire 12, though. The guy's a dog. He's got a dog in him. Drew, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Fucking Vito. What the fuck, dude? The Spanish chocolate guy. What the fuck kind of shit is this? Oh, man. You know what? I believe Mendoza goes to trouble, Fundora. Fundora is a guy that's going to...
Is he fun? Is it fun watching Fundora?
Oh, man. Like he fights small. He's a big guy. He
loves to fight on the inside. That's why I'm telling you.
It's a bad strategy for him, man. Like he's going to get clipped one day. And I just don't see him be like, it's a bad fucking strategy, dude. Like, dude, it's a fucking toothpick. What the fuck? Oh my God.
Well, it's not every day you see a guy who should be playing basketball in the ring, and especially at 154 pounds. It's a freak of nature for the division. So credit to Brian Mendoza for taking this fight, and I think Brian Mendoza is going to give him a full 12 rounds of work. And like you said, Drew, he doesn't have to make his job this difficult, man. With all the natural skills and God-given advantages he's been given, he doesn't have to make his job that hard. But he's becoming an entertaining fighter, a fighter people want to see fight, man. So Kevin Knight says, I expect Fundora to get crumbled eventually. Oh, remember when Sergio Maravilla
I'm
KO'd?
telling you, man. Like, I'm telling you, bro. Like, the guy to watch at 154 now is Jesus Ramos. That's the guy to watch.
But y'all
That's
remember
gonna be the guy
Paul
that's avoided.
Williams crumble when Paul Williams, Sergio
Yeah.
Maravilla? And
Maravilla,
nobody thought,
motherfucker.
oh man, nobody thought that shit would happen to Paul Williams, man.
But you know what? I actually picked Sergio Martinez for both fights. I actually picked.
That was to me, one of his most biggest signature wins. A
He was one
legacy
of my
win.
favorite fighters back in
A
the day.
legacy win. Well, you know what? You got no profit. It's not too high on this weekend of boxing, but there's a lot of boxing there that hopefully we're going to come up with some very good highlight reels. We just talked about Shakur Stevenson. In the chat, people were saying they think Shakur Stevenson will be one of the last people standing at lightweight for lightweight supremacy. If Devin Haney wants to stick around 135 and give Shakur the easy in-house fight with Top Rank and sign up on that contract, man, props to Devin Haney, man, if he takes on Shakur Stevenson, because you know he's struggling to make that weight and you know he wants to go up to 140. This will probably be his last fight. Shakur Stevenson versus Toshino Drew, an undefeated Japanese fighter, probably not too far from you in Philadelphia, man. Maybe you should have made your trek out to Jersey for this one.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know.
Don't you have a hot date this weekend? Or you'd be like, baby, I'm gonna take you to the fight. I'm gonna take you to Jersey.
I might have one this weekend and next weekend.
Yeah, now do you hear that, man? You should be like, baby, I got ringside
Yeah,
seats.
man.
You should pull like a Drake,
man.
You know,
pull a Drake and be
Drew-
like, I got ringside
Drew-
seats.
Drew makes the girls love the
Drew Drake.
Irish.
There's nothing. I think, ladies, is there any? There's no ladies listening to the show, but ladies, there's nothing cooler than a guy
It's a
taking you to the
sausage
fight,
festival,
right?
right?
Just taking you to the fight.
Oh man, but
Is Drew's
here's the
full
thing,
name
man.
Drew Down? Camp of the year or
What the fuck did you just say?
I don't know, man. So, Drew, you're not going to watch any of these fights.
Drew down,
Oh,
simple
so
you.
it looks like, guys, you'll have to excuse Drew if Monday he's not up on all these fights because he's got a hot date Saturday night, and that takes precedent over watching boxing like the rest of us boxing nerds, man. Oh,
Yeah. Don't get mad because you know I'm doing the master class here.
ain't no hating, man. I
the
just hope,
masterpiece?
I hope you got some good music in your car, Drew. Some funky music like this, set the mood. Maybe some R&B. Drew, what does Drew play on a date? Do you play R&B? I mean, get the mood going.
Very
Oh,
white.
man.
Very,
You play some R. Kelly? I'm just kidding.
very white.
Barry White. Oh,
You know, I play some fucking Dave Chappelle, blowing around, sipping on dubs.
guys, I appreciate
I
I appreciate everybody who's come to the show. Nando, I'm gonna let you go, man. I appreciate
Thank you.
Great call as always.
man, later.
Take care, brother.
All right, bye.
Guys, I put up this show at a last minute, man. There's days like where you just don't even feel doing your own like I don't even feel like doing my own podcast, guys. It's been rough. A lot of you guys don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I mean, I'll give you guys a little insight, man. Like I bought this house before selling my house in Silicon Valley. That house is in escrow now, so I'm like incredibly stressed out, still managing to pay for 2 homes at once. But shout out to my real estate agent, the one I have now, because that person, he delivered, man. He sold my house in 1 weekend. So God bless him. Thank you. But it's still rough, guys. Like this weekend, Drew, like I should have gone out, but I was just like, so much shit in my mind. I was like, I just want to stay home, man. And I'm like, that's not why I moved to Vegas, to stay home and sit on my ass, Drew. So hopefully you guys keep riding with the shoe shine. I'm going to go out there and start filming some content. And of course, I'm going to get out there and hit the pavement as soon as this Ryan Garcia Tank fight, the Haney Loma. Who's Laney? Stay with us, man. Stay rocking with the shoe shine. I appreciate y'all. Drew, any final thoughts on this past weekend? Anthony Joshua, Robeisy Ramirez, the future of boxing, super fights. What's up with Drew's take?
There's a take. You fucking AJ fans are emotional as fuck. Even worse than fucking Wilder fans. Grow a fuck up and grow a fucking set. Go fuck yourselves.
A little penny, hit me up, man, if you want to talk real estate on IG. By the way, guys, you can always follow me and hit me up on DM if you have ideas for the shows, criticism, man. I'll respond. Shoeshine_boxing on IG. I'm Dave from the 408, now kicking it in the 702. Drew Philly Irish. Y'all make sure you tune in next Monday because we got to hear a recap on Drew's sexy date. All right? Peace out, Drew.